Okay, so off rip, I want to ask, how did you feel about the ending of Luffy versus Kaido? What did you think about the finale of that battle? How do you feel about the ending of Wano? There is so much to talk about between all of the new bounties that we just got for the major key players in the big war on Wano, the new emperors, baby. We gotta talk about that. Yo, oh my god, they clowning right now. They clowning. Momo's words to Zunisha regarding not opening the borders to Wano, king and queen getting waxed, Green Buru. Like, there's just so much to talk about. Let's jump into it because we gotta do it, baby. It's been too freaking long. Let's do it for the one time. We gotta talk about that One Piece right now. I had to do it right, okay? I had to do it right. Let's talk though, baby. No matter how you move, get it done. 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 Okay, so off rip, I'm gonna say something probably a lot of people don't want to hear, don't like, whatever, yada yada. It's just how I felt. Luffy sending Kaido crashing with a giant fist from all the way up down into the core of the earth. Come on, fam. It definitely felt like there was some biblical inspirations here in terms of, like, even look at Kaido, his design. It's kind of like the classic look of what, you know, Satan supposedly looks like, whatnot. So definitely felt like it was replicating a lot of aspects in that regard, but also doing just Oda's story the way he want to do it. Because honestly, the more I look at One Piece and the more I sit back and observe, you can definitely see that for the most part, minus some certain aspects, really Oda does what he wants to do, despite the fact that there might be some backlash from this way, backlash from that way. I feel like Oda really tells the story he wants to tell for the most part, and if you like it, you like it, you don't, but it's Oda's story. Because jumping straight off the back of Luffy launching Kaido into the core of the earth alongside Big Mom, one of the big things that I noticed was technically they announced that the formal winner, the formal one, is Kaido. The one that actually won the battle is Luffy. It's a different ball game. And honestly, if we're just being realistic, are we really going to give the W to Luffy when it was like 7-1? Like, let's keep it real. Like, Kaido beat him like 100 bajillion times. It's just that in the end, I guess technically you could argue that Luffy won the war, Kaido won the battle, but we can't even really throw that out there because Kaido went so far down into the earth when he was hit. For all we know, he's just chilling out there. Like, if somebody would throw me a drink, I'll just be fine right here, dog. Because I'm going to throw this in here right now before we even get started. I feel like Kaido and Big Mom potentially could have been down there and made a pact of, yo, we could probably keep getting back up. We could probably even win this in the end, but we really want to get up. Let's let them have their generation. That's my theory off rip. I feel like Kaido possibly could have even got up from that. We've seen Kaido take so much damage. What if Kaido and Big Mom were just like, we don't care no more. Obviously, this is their generation and we're impeding on it. Maybe some common sense was slapped into them in terms of like, yo, y'all are monsters. Y'all have eclipsed clearly. Like, this generation, realistically speaking, Kaido and Big Mom are still on another level than most of these people. Luffy literally needed the power of God, the Nika Joy Boy. He needed that to come into play in order to take down Kaido, and we still don't even know, is he dead? What's going on with him? He was just launched into the core of a freaking volcano, which honestly, a lot of people have been complaining from what I see. They felt like Kaido didn't do enough in the battle. They felt like Kaido went down fairly easy, but I mean, like, aside from, let's just say, the entire army from Dressrosa showing up and all doing a combined attack on Kaido, I'm not sure exactly what more could you have wanted for Luffy to have done, other than maybe you wanted like a godlike technique, but then people would have complained that, oh, it came out of nowhere, that's BS. So him getting launched into a freaking volcano into the core of Earth, what more do you want from me, lad? Honestly, is it the greatest? And oh my god, I think the way the execution was is the problem. I think that everything that was done at that point was fine for the most part, and I'm not talking about like, because yes, this fight has went a ridiculous amount of time. Luffy versus Kaido went on for over a year, I think now, with some crazy shit. Like, yeah, I understand that aspect, but yo, him getting launched the way he did, and likewise what happened to Big Mom, I felt like that was fair for how strong they were, to see like, yo, it took all of that and still they're not dead. We don't know they're dead. In fact, to be honest with you, I'm sure at some given point Kaido and maybe Big Mom using the excuse of wanting to kill Luffy, Kaido doing it because he wants to, you know, help the guy that defeated him. He wants to help Joy Boy, so to speak. I could see them, you know, being on the front lines for the big war. Then let's talk about the conversation between Momonosuke and Zunisha. Zunisha, as he was approaching Wano, he was probably probably gonna just bulldoze through there. I'm so curious as to what the hell is gonna happen with Zunisha, why he was approaching. Obviously, there's a lot of prophetic stuff going on, but like, what's the word? What's going on here? And Momonosuke saying, I don't want to open, this is my decision, I don't want to open the borders to Wano yet. I mean, it's clear as day that he understands that there's still a lot of dangers surrounding. I mean, even the, Gorosei later on in another chapter confirmed that they were gonna bulldoze their way in there, bring massive forces. So keeping those gates closed, it's kind of like the zombie apocalypse is outside, and rather than, shit happening, it's just like close the doors before shit happens. It makes me really want to see the first time they closed the borders to Wano. I'm wondering, like, did they close the borders to Wano because of something? I don't want to say exactly, a zombie apocalypse, but who knows? Maybe they recognized that the world was going to shit, and they were like, let's protect our country. Let's close this shit. Obviously, 800 years later or whatever the case may be, the world changed, and people are like, yo, open the gates. But Momonosuke, which honestly, this massive level up has just been all around. Mwah. The new Momonosuke, oh my god. Like, for the most part, a lot of us, come on, man. Momonosuke, yo, you in Nami's chest too? Which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But like, yo, the new Momonosuke, understanding, and of course with the guidance of the people around him, but really it looked like that was his decision, was ultimately like, yo, yeah, they could come and hurt us. We're still not safe yet to open up the borders. He's probably waiting until the final war. That's when he's gonna say, yo, we're finally safe. When the world government is no longer a threat to Wano, that's probably when he'll open the borders, because right now it's scary. Or it could just be that he's waiting for a particular event, maybe the whole thing with, the legendary weapon. So there's a lot to digest there, but definitely fascinating that the whole big thing of opening them damn borders, and Momo's like, not yet, fam, not yet. And a lot of these last few chapters, because we're talking about for the most part from chapters 1049-ish to 1053, the latest as of the recording of this video, there was a lot of like just shocking the people of Wano. Like when all the scabbards show up and they're all alive and everybody's like, what the hell is going on? What's happening here? Well, first of all, definitely Oda should have, taken a few of them out. I'm still going to say that Oda played too much with potential deaths to the point where that's where I feel like why people are sour that, damn, the scabbards all survived. I get it. He was basically trying to recreate, if I'm not mistaken, he was inspired by, what was it, a movie, I think, or an old show or something like that? Was it 44? I can't remember, but there was a movie or something where Oda was essentially inspired that nobody died. None of the samurai in that film died, and that's probably why he wanted to do this, although I'll throw the argument, Kanjuro, hello, but then again, Kanjuro was a traitor, never really a scabbard, so we could throw that argument there. But I'm still looking like two of them at the very least should have been the big one, and y'all know who I'm talking about, Kiku and Kinemon. Those two, especially, like, I don't even want to say especially, they both should have died. So Oda played too much with them, and I'm saying should have died in terms of what Oda showed happened to them. Like, that's where I feel like, god damn, come on. But it was still a legendary scene to see them return, just for the people of Wano, their morale of like, the people we thought you were all gone. Like, yes, the one that they love the most, Odin, may not be there anymore, but you still got his retainers there. You still got the people that surrounded him that made Odin. Also, on a side note, hilarious when Yamato approaches the Straw Hats and is like, yo, dog, I'm a Straw Hat now, I'm letting you know. And Jinbei gotta come in real quick. Hold up. That's for the captain to decide. You need to relax. But realistically speaking, unless Luffy pulls a fast one, which you never know with Oda, you just never freaking know, more than likely he's gonna say, yeah, Yamato Straw Hat now, let's go. Because, I mean, it just feels like it's been set up so much so for that. Like, again, it could be a plot twist of, no, Yamato, you really need to stay. But, like, Yamato's whole character arc has been about chasing freedom, breaking free from this. How dare Luffy if he was to say, no, you stay back. Like, this has been Yamato's dream this entire time. That would be horrible, and I would be so disappointed, even if Yamato accepted it at that point. Like, you gotta wait a little. It would be so horrible. Like, dog, Yamato wants to be free, wants to break the chains of Wano, just like Odin back in the day. It's Yamato's turn to go with a crew. And once again, just adult Momo, so freaking awesome. Like, the design, he pretty much looks like a less goofy version of Odin, and I say that very, very lightly because Odin is one of the most, I love Odin, okay? He's one of my favorite characters in One Piece, period. He's up there. I don't know if I'd put top 10, top 5. He's somewhere up there of one of the greatest characters in One Piece, but, the little bowl on his head or whatever, and even when they throw that inside joke of Yamato constantly putting the plate on his head, like, that was the only thing that was wacky about him. You take that off, and you got Momonosuke with maybe a little bit more of an innocent face, I guess you would argue, although Odin kind of had, it's hard to describe, but yeah, I don't know. I love the new Momonosuke when he shows up in front of everybody, and it's basically like, yo, the real is back. The real is back. Yes, the real is back, baby. Wano done changed. It's over. The nightmare is done. And also, real quick, before we get any further, Orochi. I feel like there could have been more done with Orochi in terms of showing his demise, because one of the things I was talking to a friend of mine last night that, he kind of pointed out to me was, did Orochi and Luffy ever cross paths? And a part of me is like, well, was it necessary? Because Luffy's whole purpose of being here was fighting the big Yonko War, going after Kaido, going after Big Mom. Him going after Orochi kind of would have been like, it wasn't his fight to have. Orochi was a byproduct of Luffy's battle. Orochi was really Momonosuke's fight. If anything, I would have loved for Momonosuke or Hiyori in particular to be the ones to finally cut him down. But nevertheless, Orochi could have been handled a little bit better in terms of showing his demise, because a lot of us, I think I can speak for a majority of the One Piece fandom, we wanted to see that motherfucker burn. Like, Orochi was one of the most spineless, cowardly pieces of garbage that the One Piece universe has ever seen. And we've seen some spineless cowards. Like, yo, Spandam, where you at, dog? Like, we've seen them, but that dude was another level of just being a creature. So that was, I guess, a missed opportunity, or at the very least, another celestial dragon punch from Luffy into Orochi's face would have been beautiful as well, but maybe we're saving that for another time. Was it just me, or when the Gorosei, I think it was like chapter 1052, are meeting up and they're talking about everything that happened, and they're like, yo, dog, we can't cover this one up with Big Mom and Kaido. I was just kind of like, oh my god, this is the real world just on manga paper. But also, they're stressing the importance of Joy Boy, because 1052 starts over the Gorosei saying, hey, Nika has descended upon this world. It probably is something that whoever Joy Boy was 800 years ago, he was probably the one that led the fight against whoever the world government were at that point, because they're the world government now. What were they 800 years ago during the Void Century? Were they the world government? Were they just like some, I don't know, reptilian motherfucker? Like, what was the world government 800 years ago? Also, shout outs to my guy that compared Kaido and Big Mom's death potentially being covered up as Queen Elizabeth and Kim Jong-un. I know that is super real world shit, but somebody told me that and I was like, imagine. And it also makes me wonder what the hell the Gorosei was planning. If they was like, yo, now that the borders aren't being opened, we can't send in big massive forces. Like, it looks like they were really going to invade Wano and just basically tear it apart. Like, it's kind of real sick that they were basically like, yo, these borders, they gotta get open. Not only you got pirates that were poaching there, and honestly it was probably only Kaido in a strange and bizarre way, which you could throw that it wasn't by any means meant to be heroic, but it was in a sense a heroic aspect to it, that he was probably protecting Wano, because if it wasn't for Kaido being there and all of his people, they probably would have been bum rushed in there. The fact that they knew, like, yo, that everybody's getting bopped and whatnot, maybe this would be a good time to run up in there. It foiled their plans. And honestly, it kind of even reminds me of, now that I think about it, the fact that Fishman Island was originally protected, what was it, by Whitebeard and then eventually Big Mom. If you think about it, they are all, monsters at the end of the day. Being an emperor, basically having people under your foot, so to speak, is wrong. But there was some good that came from all of these emperors. Big Mom eventually being the one that was holding down Fishman Island after Whitebeard. Yeah, she was a terrible monster and killing people, but just imagine what the repercussions would have been if there wasn't protection from these gigantic monstrous creatures. Then what would happen? Also makes you think, so are now the people of like Fishman Island, the people of Wano, are they going to be essentially under the Yonko protection of Luffy and kind of backing people down? Like, yo, you could try to go there and start some shit if you want. The Mugiwara Straw Hats, that's their territory. That would kind of be fire, because we're seeing, we've been seeing steadily throughout the entire series that they are elevating now, especially with the latest chapter. We'll talk about it. This could very well be another case of adding to Luffy's legacy of, yeah, Fishman Island, that's mine. Big Mom fell because of me, so now that's mine. Wano, that's mine. And any of the other areas that they had is mine. Monkey D. Luffy, baby. Also, the fact that they still want Nico Robin, dog. The fact that they still want Nico Robin. It feels like it's just been a never-ending saga since all the way back in Water 7, and we found out what was really going on with Robin. Of, leave Robin alone. Leave her alone, please, for the love of God. Just leave her alone. I don't like it. I'm not even gonna lie. It actually gets me mad pissed off of, yet again, they're like, well, at the very least, since we can't invade, can you go get Nico Robin for us? And it really starts adding to me, because initially I always think to myself, at the end of One Piece, the only Straw Hats that I could see potentially biting the big one is, of course, Luffy. Usopp, I've always thought he would, go out like a legend. They would basically immortalize. Think of Usopp as like, he would be like a Jesus, like a Machiavelli, Tupac type of thing of, he's already being looked at as God Usopp. Now imagine if they were to see him die die in battle, what that would do to his image and his legacy. But now the fact that, you know, especially in Wano, that they continuously are pushing the effort of, no, we want Nico Robin, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens, and ultimately Robin bites the big one as well, essentially bringing her to her true freedom, as sad as that sounds, because they're not letting off. Until the world government is completely crushed, Nico Robin will never be free because of her ability to read the poneglyphs and the fact that she's gonna read the poneglyphs for her captain. Okay, and I gotta ask off rip, if you made it this far, is Hawkins dead? Or when he was talking about the 1% chance of somebody dying himself, and he looks like he slumps over after that conversation with Drake, wow, like that was intense. I don't know if he just passed out, and I feel like Oda probably would do that thing, because we've already, like, I'm starting to get to a point of understanding, like, Oda's just doing a lot of fake outs, and it's kind of shitty. I don't like it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hawkins is still alive. Like, it just is what it is. And also, Drake is just really like, wow, you know what? Honestly, never mind. You like that one. You like that one. Don't lie. You like that one. And I'm not talking about the album. I meant the, you know, reference, the metaphor, the wordplay. You know. And something that I mentioned earlier, but I want to talk about again, is Momo has lost his Nami chest privilege. I was waiting for that moment where he would try that shit again with Nami, and this time around it did not work because he's a grown-ass man. You can't do that again, okay, dog? You're not a kid no more. We're gonna call that one Sanji's Revenge. And is it just me, when we get to that scene of Yamato and she's again, you know, laughing and putting the plate on Momo's head, and they're talking about how much he looks like Odin and stuff like that, part of it kind of reminds me in a weird way of The Lion King. Essentially, Momo will be like Simba, and how when he got older, he started to looking like Mufasa. I wouldn't be surprised if that was, you know, a core element of maybe some inspiration there, but then again, it's not like that's, you know, the only story to ever do that, but it just gave me Lion King vibes. And yo, after this, depending on where he decides to swing with his pendulum, so to speak, Apu is going to be somewhat deadly, because it looks like some of the numbers are actually rocking with him now, and those numbers, they're no joke. So whatever Apu decides to do, and considering he's a slime ball, I don't expect it to be anything good. He is going to be a foe to be reckoned with now. Like, the numbers, they're scary. And then the cliffhanger leading into this chapter, where we got Green Bull talking to Akainu headed towards Wano. There's new freaking bounties, like, woo! Because I love how the latest chapter, as of the recording of this video, 1053, starts off rip saying, yo, the printing press is going crazy, because it shows the power that the media has, whichever way they want to go. If they're going to suppress it, then boom, you're not going to get the story out there. But big news, Morgan, that dude is the key element to really pushing forth change in the One Piece world, because he's a media outlet that can't be swayed. He wants what he feels like is going to be the story everyone wants to read, the story that is deserving, whether it be the truth or not. And the fact that, you know, the Gorosei and the world government, everybody, they're trying to play hush hush on it, and he's pushing forth like, no, we're gonna say exactly what happened. There is no cover-ups happening here with the Kaido and Big Mom situation. Not only that, we're also going to put out these new bounties, and we're going to put in the letter D in the middle of their names, which the government has desperately. You got to think, they tried to cover up Gold D. Roger with Gold Roger back in the day. So right here, he just undid like 20 years of cover up for them, because then if it gets out like Gold D. Roger, it really makes everybody question, like, wait, so what is the D? What's going on here? Why do they have these D in the middle of their name? And what did y'all think about the bounty numbers? I believe it was Luffy, Kid, and Law, and all three of them had 3 billion berry bounties. I was just kind of like, I thought Luffy would have been higher than the other two. That was interesting to note. Like, they kind of kept it even. It could be that they just feel like they each had their, you know, contributions, but considering the fact that Luffy dropped Kaido at the end by himself, he should have been like 3.5 or 4 or something. I don't know. Not to mention the fact that he is Joy Boy. He is Nika Nika. Like, come on, dog. Also, just quick nod, Jinbei feasting alone. Poor Jinbei, dog. Like, yo, that's what you get, dog. You shouldn't be stuffing your face, okay, Jinbei? Why am I ripping on Jinbei? Sorry, Jinbei, my fault. And then, honestly, I would argue this was one of the biggest plot twists I did not see coming from the very rip of this whole entire Wano saga. The enormous reveal of Tengu's identity being Odin's father. Swear to God, I didn't see that shit coming from a million miles away. I was honestly under the impression of maybe it could have been that one dude that a lot of people were speculating was Zoro's pops. The fact that we find out that that was Odin's father, he was locked in that dungeon all those years by Orochi, and then by the time he got out, he realized, oh shit, you know, Wano's changed, my son is dead. That threw me for a loop. That was one of the best reveals in this entire, I don't know how many chapters now, but that right there was just masterfully done. It just really didn't have much breadcrumbs, and you didn't really think too much about it. You just thought, okay, he died. He was sick already as it is. How the hell did he get unsick? I guess is one of the questions. Like, or was that all just a ploy all along? Like, Orochi just wanted... Because you got to think about it. Orochi was a really diabolical dude. The average evil ruler at that point, like, okay, you know, the father, I'm just going to execute him, kill him off. He left this motherfucker alive to torture him, basically, in a dungeon. Like, that's how deep his hatred goes. And I want to ask you right there, was that the biggest twist of Wano? Basically, Tengu's identity being that of, oh, snap, that was Odin's father. And what did you think of just, like, him trying to make up for the fact that he wasn't able to save his homeland? He was tricked, his son was killed by, you know, helping Tama, and the little things that he did do. Is like, yo, he tried his best to remedy it, and honestly, you can't really blame him. They were all bamboozled by this piece of garbage, so it's a tough situation. But again, just amazingly done. Did not see that being Odin's father. Maybe you did, and you're like, Fernand, that's why you don't pay attention. Fuck you. How about that? And then, fam, when it starts getting heavy, and this is one of the reasons why I feel like, yo, Yamato can bounce if need be, if the weapon is going to stay here, unless they're going to put the weapon on, like, the Sunny, or how is this going to work? The ancient weapon of Pluton, confirmed by Tengu himself in a conversation with Robin, that it is indeed here on Wano. It is here. I wonder what this weapon is going to be. Like, remember Roger had that giant egg on his ship? What was that, Thor's? I want to say it might have been Thor's. I can't remember. But if it's a giant egg, that would again resemble, you know, Roger's final days, his final crew, everything that happened, and it's kind of just been resembling a lot of Roger's journey to begin with. Honestly, if you really think about it, Luffy's journey is Roger's journey at the right time. Roger was the right dude at the wrong time. Luffy's the right dude at the right time. And then one of the biggest cliffhangers that has a lot of people going crazy. Gooding Bull. First of all, he's desperate to be teacher's pet. That's clear. Very insecure dude. The fact that he lies to Akainu Sakazuki, like, yo, yeah, don't worry, but yo, don't nobody tell him. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna wreak some havoc and I'm gonna get that pat on the back. So dude is real desperate to kiss Akainu's behind. He is a teacher's pet, so to speak. But I think that he's making a sorely bad choice of coming here. Like, dog, if the emperors fell, the emperors, what makes you think you're that badass? Don't get me wrong, it was very awesome the way Oda did it of his first showing, and king and queen are all beat up. Granted, they just took the ass whippings they've never took in their entire life at the hands of the Allied Forces, the Ninja Alliance, whatever the hell they're called, Ninja Pirate Samurai Alliance or whatnot. But still, Green Bull did them real dirty. And not to mention, if they were injured, Luffy and company are injured. We still don't even know what the hell is the status of Zoro. We had that whole interaction of Sanji's pissed or whatnot, but Zoro is unconscious. Who the hell is going to be able to, you know, combat them? Luffy is still kind of injured. Can he even go into the Joy Boy form at will? Or is it like Super Saiyan where Goku had to go and practice with the freaking Yardratians before he actually learned how to go at Super Saiyan at will? Like, how is that going to happen? So while there's a lot of people there that can really kick this dude ass, they're also very injured. They just fought the hardest people in the entire world to fight. I mean, it could be that Kaido pops out of the ground or Big Mom pops out of the ground and stomps him out and then drops dead right there. So there's that. I feel like there's a huge possibility that he could also get his ass whipped. Like, let's just say Luffy goes into Nika Nika, you got Kid, you got Law, and they all just jump him right there. It's one admiral versus like what, how many supernovas, how many people there? Like, so it could get messy. But either way, talk about a way to go into a cliffhanger, bro, because we get the big reveal of the new 4 Yonko that has me going crazy. How Sway, how Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, and dun 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 dun, Buggy the Clown, bro. How Sway? Oh my god. It has to have been that the government did it on purpose, whether it be that, you know, Shanks told them to do this with Buggy, whatever the case may be. This was purposefully done because there's no way in hell. The last time we saw Buggy, he was cornered. His crew wasn't all that strong. You know, everything has been a bluff with Buggy up until this point. For them to have allowed it, it could have been that out of all the warlords that they targeted, in particular, they targeted Buggy to do this as follows. Because think about it. If they keep up this charade, yo, we got a new Yonko here, but they know, everybody else won't know, but the world government knows at any given point we could dismantle this dude. He really ain't nothing. Like, he's not that strong. They could continue the charade and make pirates think that, yeah, the age of piracy is still going. Look at that, we got the Emperor Buggy. But in reality, they know it's all bullshit. He's no threat. We can stop him whenever we want. If anything, it's having a emperor under their thumb. And then Luffy was just an absolute given. I love that his new poster now is officially him with the laugh of the Joy Boy panel and shit. Like, honestly, man, absolute greatness. Ending off with Green Bull saying, yo, world government mad. the world, you know what I'm saying, is a mess right now. We about to do this. Oh, it's gonna be such a crazy wait, but I'm grateful that honestly I took a long time off and I'm back, and it was perfect to do this big video for you guys. So when One Piece returns and everything continues to kick off again, I'm here. Curious what you guys think. For starters, did you miss me talking that One Piece? The bounties, the new emperors, Luffy's bounty, Kid's bounty, Law's bounty, Green Bull, what's gonna happen there? Wano's borders not being open. So many questions. Please, I want to see, I don't care, paragraphs, essays, write it. I want to read it. I'm reading every single freaking comment. I'm liking every freaking thing I can get my hands on. Let's have some fun, baby. But that's all I have for this one. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and One Piece greatness. Nothing more needs to be said. Oh, you should totally like, subscribe.
So just go to